Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I've got an update to my Stockwatch infographic, and we're going to talk about Red Star upgrades specifically. So if you're interested in that topic, definitely listen in. I'm doing this because in my prior infographic, there was an oversight, and Phyla-Vell was not listed in my Red Star upgrade. So this section always has my Red Star promotion advice. And I just didn't put Phyla-Vell, and it was simply because I forgot that she was upgradable. Now, since that time, I've done different iterations of this, trying to correct the error internally. Me and the guy who creates the infographics, Punk, who is frankly amazing. I think he just does an amazing job on these things. And I said, oh, well, now, we've got, for example, Captain Sam is upgradable and so forth. So I added him, but I did not change the advice up here. So that's another error, but I just want to get this out. Okay, so I apologize for that, but I want to get out my list here, and I want to talk about it because I frankly really struggled on the top 10 Red Star upgrades. Really struggled on this. Because to me, a lot of these choices in here are viable choices, but what character you want to upgrade really depends on what you need out of these characters in the game and what you have. Obviously, it also depends on star level. You should never be upgrading and putting red stars onto a character that you don't have the yellow stars for. But I want to talk a little bit because I think my views on this have really changed a little bit since I made the first version of this just a couple weeks ago, because I've had a lot of experience now fighting heroes for hire in war. I've seen how Infinity Watch struggles in that matchup, how careful you have to be with that matchup. And so I really think that has impacted my view on what to upgrade. So first of all, I continue to think that Kestrel is the best character to upgrade. She is the best character in the game, in my opinion, still. She still has a huge impact in war, and she's the most important character in raids. In other words, she's going to help you in two different sections of the Doom raid and have a humongous impact in both, one of which is a difficult section, which is tech. But also in war, she's the only character who, by herself, I think it's important to track her usage and figure out where as an alliance you're going to use her. In other words, are we using our Kestrel to clean up heroes for hire teams that don't, that no longer have Shang-Chi on them or that are partial teams? Are we using our Kestrels to negate Doom? Are we using our Kestrels because we don't have a full Infinity Watch team and we need it with Infinity Watch, her with Infinity Watch instead of Adam Warlock? Like, where you use Kestrel has an impact on your overall war strategy, and she's the most important raid character. I upgraded her to 7 stars and don't regret it. The rest of these characters depends a lot on what you're trying to accomplish and how many gold promos you have. And here's what I mean. If you've got very few gold promos, I think one strategy is to upgrade the characters that are going to have the longest shelf life. And I think the reason I have Captain Sam here is he is going to have a long shelf life because not only are his stats like super high power creep, but he has aspects to his kit that I think will stand the test of time. He gives speed bar. He gives ability energy. He's got a plug-and-play quality to him that even when the stats aren't as special as they are now, like right now he does awesome damage, like massive damage at high red stars. I have him at 7 red stars, and he's just a beast, even as a damager. But I think even if you didn't have that, I mean, there's a lot of people right now bringing their 2-star Captain Sam free-to-play players into Doom Raid Difficulty 1, into Dark Dimension 3 and 4, and are having a lot of success with a 2-star Captain Sam. So to me, he's someone even without the stats that has value. So if you don't have many gold promos, and you were fortunate enough to get Captain Sam at a high star level for one way or another, putting red stars on him, I think, makes a lot of sense. Silver Surfer's a character. The reason I have Silver Surfer so high, and like I said, I didn't change this top part. I only changed the bottom. But the reason I have Silver Surfer so high is he's still the only character in the game that removes charges. He's got a lot of special things going on with his kit. He's got super high speed. He ramps up to be the highest speed in the game after a couple turns. He has that amazing basic where he cleanses himself and, steals buffs and everything else. I mean, he's got a lot going for him, and so to me, he's a plug-and-play character that will have value for a long time. Captain Sam's a plug-and-play character that's going to have value for a long time. I view the Infinity Watch investments as more short-term investments. Now, I understand for some of you, I've had free-to-play players tell me, Gamora is the only character on this list that I have at high stars. Oh, okay, and I get that. Then if that's the case and you have gold promos and you're like, I'm never going to get Kestrel at high stars or Silver Surfer or Captain Sam anytime soon, like you're not going to raid. The reason I think Silver Surfer, for some players, there are free-to-play players who are getting a lot of shards of him because now a lot of alliances are able to do difficulty 1 and so forth and are getting those raid milestones, and there's still a number of seasons left. But like, if you're like, hey, I'm not going to get, in your situation, not going to get other characters to high stars, I totally get it. Like, the goal here is for you to make the right choice for your roster, for your situation. There's no one size fits all advice. But nonetheless, I would say Infinity Watch right now are super important because they are the best team in the game. They're the arena meta right now. And in war, you need them to beat Heroes for Hire. But which characters you invest in really depend of this group really depend on what you're trying to accomplish. And here's what I mean. Gamora is really helped by red stars, but I will tell you, I brought Gamora up to 7 red stars, and I regret it because, like, she's clearly to me a character that is first of all going to have a low shelf life. She's just a ball of stats, and when her stats, are no longer special, when she's no longer the best damager in the game. And that could be literally a month or two in Scopely terms. Remember when we were excited about White Tiger's damage or Colleen Wing's damage? I think that, there's going to be luster lost here. I will also say that in Arena, I have a 900-something K Infinity Watch. Like, if you look at my Infinity Watch team, I've got, a humongous team, right? 930K. And people punch up, 100K, 200K, whatever on that team all the time. And on defense in an arena. I mean, you're not going to get like the way that the team works. It's so easy to punch up in the mirror match. I just don't see Gamora really making a big difference for you. And then I would also just say that, you can lose against Heroes for Hire. The Gamora size of Gamora is not really the determining factor in a Heroes for Hire matchup. Now, Phyla-Vell, the reason I put her second here is because for both Arena and for War, having her stay alive a little longer is helpful. In other words, this is who your enemy is probably targeting first in Arena. And in War, what is often the case, and I will do a video on the Heroes for Hire matchup, how to beat Shang-Chi, but frankly, I'm not doing it until I've really mastered it myself. I don't see any point giving you a video where I'm still working through problems and still trying to figure it out. I don't see the point in that. Because I think it's a very tricky fight to master. For Phyla-Vell, what I would just say is in that, often in War, when you zone in, Heroes for Hire just attacks, and she's left with just a sliver of health, and Nebula is left with such a sliver of health. Keeping those two alive is important in War, and in Arena and so forth. So, plus some players are using her in Doom Raid in Bio instead of Venom. So to me, she's got a lot of all-around use. Plus, she's useful in Gamma and will have use there for a long time because she has the Kree tag. So to me, it depends on usage. It depends on what you're trying to get out of it. But I think she, generally speaking, is going to be the next. Gamora's, certainly if you're using her in raids, that's important. I don't really think it matters that much because it's Secret Avengers plus Kestrel, pretty much going to beat everything, no matter who the fifth is at this point. But raid usage matters, but I think Phyla-Vell helps in all of those game modes, having her a little bigger just for survivability's sake, not really for the damage. Moondragon, having more red stars on her helps ensure that you will remove the buffs from the enemy team. That's the main value of having a larger Moondragon. If you have, I have 6 red stars in my Moondragon, I just happened to pull it, and in the mirror match, always remove the debuffs on the enemy usually. And then against Heroes for Hire, I remove their buffs. Excuse me, not remove debuffs, but remove buffs from the enemy. I think that's an important part of her kit, and it really can make a big difference in war. Plus, she has value in raids. She is a viable, 5th in skill. And I think before we had the full Secret Avengers team, I was using her even more in raids. I think she's got a good kit that will stand the test of time too, and be able to be useful outside of her team with Captain Sam feeding her energy because she has long cooldown. So I think she's a good character to invest in. Nebula, I moved up, and I moved Adam Warlock down from the last list. And the reason I did that is because in war, Nebula's size matters just to keep her alive. In other words, if your Nebula dies early, even once, I know she gets 2 lives on Infinity Watch. If she dies even once early on, you're probably not going to win that Heroes for Hire matchup because once she dies, it's essentially game over for you. And it's very easy for her to die. And so she often has just a sliver of health. I actually upgraded my Nebula to 6 red stars. It spent the 100 promo credits just for that war matchup. Now, I don't think most of you are going to be fighting 800k, 900k Hero for Hire teams, which is what I'm facing. And so I did it for that purpose. I literally did it in the middle of a war to give myself the ability to beat certain teams and so forth. And I will just say that, it is useful. She's useful for that purpose. For Arena, I don't really think any of these upgrades make a lot of sense. Phyla-Vell to 6 red stars may make sense there, to give you a little bit more survivability. But I just think people are going to punch up on you no matter what. But I think for war, if you care about that matchup for now, until Heroes for Hire is countered in a month or 2 or 3 or 4, I do think that is a useful upgrade. But all of these upgrades, all of them are very short term in my view. I mean, think about how important any of these characters are in game modes other than war in the short term and arena potentially in the short term. In other words, this is a team, Infinity Watch, where they didn't sell us like they did with Black Order 4 new characters. There was only 3 new characters, and they already got one of them, 2 of them already were easy to obtain, Nebula and Gamora, and then Phyla-Vell, they're already making somewhat available in those arena orbs. Somewhat, right? Hard to get, but at least available. More available than like Symbiote Spider-Man and Anti-Venom are, a year later, right? Or more. So I'm skeptical of how long this arena meta is going to last. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new arena meta. So to me, this is more of a short-term investment, whereas Kestrel, Silver Surfer, Captain Sam are long-term investments. Bishop and Sharon Carter I have at the end of the list. And Bishop, to me, is a special case because his size impacts that entire team so much. And that is the mutant raid solution for everyone for right now in the foreseeable future. I mean, we don't know. You never know what the Scopely is going to do. But I don't expect right now they're making money off of Axemen, people trying to spend their war credits on Axemen and get more Axemen shards and so forth. Jubilees are required as an unlock. I just view this as the team for now. And Bishop, having a big Bishop is important. You don't really need a huge Jubilee. You don't really need a huge anybody else in the team. As long as Jubilee's alive and putting her debuffs on, that's fine. As long as Beast doesn't die, that's fine. But a huge Bishop and getting damage from huge Bishop is what makes that team go. So bringing him up to 5 red stars at the very least, I think makes sense. Sharon Carter is one of the most underrated characters in the game. I mean, she is really, really, really powerful. Standalone powerful, helping a lot of newer players in Arena. I use her quite a bit in RTA, and just really powerful. That team's Secret Avengers underrated in War. So very powerful. I think getting her to 5 red stars makes sense. For all this, I think maybe the best advice here is be very careful. I kind of gave my general advice about red star promos, which I probably would add it if I had more time, but I want to get this out there. Just with gold promos, it depends on your situation. I don't give one-size-fits-all advice because there isn't any. If you're buying red star gold promos and red stars, of course, sure. You're going to use these more freely. If you are somebody who, for example, is free to play and only has certain characters up to 6 red star to 6 yellow or 7 yellow stars, obviously that's a factor. Take your situation into account, but the ones with the more long-term value are the ones I put at the top. Kestrel, Silver Surfer, and Captain Sam. Infinity Watch are definitely worth a short-term investment for some players. And then I would say Bishop, Sharon Carter, are definitely worth getting at least to 5 red stars because they just provide a lot of value as they get larger and can do quite a lot still in this game. All right, guys, this infographic is below. If you have comments or questions about red stars, what to upgrade, put those below or just go to my Discord. That's linked below. If you like this video and the work I'm putting into stuff like Stockwatch, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and also check out my Twitch stream. That is linked below as well.